Hi, my name is Sam. I'm the owner of Professional Fleet. And today we're going to talk about vehicles that come in running rough, misfiring, lack of power, service engine light could be on, also maybe flashing. The vehicle could be shaking, stalling, stumbling. Those are common complaints and concerns when a vehicle comes in. So what we first got to do is figure out what's causing the problem, why it's running rough, and we got to pinpoint basically where we're going to go to start the diagnosis of the problem. And that's where we got to begin. Alright, so the first thing you want to do when a vehicle comes in running rough, misfiring, chugging, having issues, if the service engine light is on, we want to scan it and find out what codes are in there. If it's not on, we still want to scan it because it could give us some valuable information as to where to go. The codes that we pull out of here don't necessarily fix the vehicle. They may not even help you get to the point you need to go to fix the vehicle. It's just a starting point to kind of give us a direction as to where to go. We have some basic scanners that you might find at your local parts store. All they do is pull a code, give you a short 3 or 4 word description. They mean absolutely nothing more than that. A lot of times they're misunderstood as being a way to diagnose the car or fix the car, but they're not. Most of the time when codes are pulled, parts stores are there just to sell you parts, not to actually fix the car, because that's what they're in the business of doing. So we want to actually find out what's causing the problem. We hook this up, basically gives us a code. And when we pull the codes, like we're going to do on this vehicle right now, we plug in, turn the car on, and as soon as we hit enter for read codes, code's going to come up. And we have 2 codes. We have a P0141, which is an oxygen sensor code for a heater circuit that's not working correctly. And we have a code 300, which tells us multiple misfire code. What that means is more than one cylinder in this vehicle is not firing correctly. So it tells us there's multiple cylinders on the engine not firing. It doesn't pinpoint which cylinder, doesn't really tell us much. We just know we have multiple cylinders misfiring. That's all this can do for you. Now we have to go in and figure out what exactly is causing the misfires and which cylinders are misfiring. So at this point, this tool has done all that it can do. Now we have to go in and manually figure out the problem. So what we're going to do now is we're going to hook up a true diagnostic tool, which cost us somewhere around $10,000 to verify what cylinders are misfiring so that we can accurately check those cylinders instead of wasting a lot of time checking all the cylinders and possibly finding nothing. So basically what we're looking for is we want to see which cylinders out of the 4 are missing. And all these zeros tell us nothing's happening right now. There we have one on cylinder 4. Cylinder 4 is misfiring. So at this point in time, we now know cylinder 4 is our main problem. So what we'll do now is move to diagnosing cylinder number 4. If we see no other misfires here, then more than likely our cylinders are fine. A lot of times when one cylinder misfires, the opposite cylinder can also misfire. On this vehicle, cylinders 1 and 4 are opposite of each other. Cylinders 2 and 3 are grouped and opposite of each other. So a lot of times we'll see misfires on cylinder 4 and cylinder 1 just because cylinder 4 misfired. That's how we get our code for multiple misfires. So on this vehicle though, cylinder 4 seems to be our problem. So what we're going to do now is we're going to jump to the engine, take some stuff apart, and we're going to get down to cylinder 4 testing and find out what's causing our problem. Alright, so the vehicle's here for a rough run misfire. We know it's cylinder number 4, so we're going to key in and focus on cylinder number 4. First thing we got to do is we got to check spark. Spark is how the engine fires and ignites the fuel in the engine. So you're going to take your spark plug wire and we got to find out, do we have spark on that cylinder? If we're missing spark, then we start testing from the spark system. We're going to test the fuel injector, make sure there's fuel going to the vehicle. And obviously we're going to check spark, we're going to check fuel. And the last thing we'll check is compression on the engine to verify if the engine's good if we don't find anything here. What we're going to do is we're going to pull number 4 spark plug off. We're just going to double check and make sure we have good spark there. Plug her into here. And that's coming from the coils, which is where we get our spark from. So we know we got good spark. We can see the sparking. Obviously the engine's running bad because it took spark away from that cylinder. So we know we got spark on that cylinder. So we know the coil's good. We know the module is good. We now know the spark system is working. So now we got to move to the next thing. Okay, so there's a spark plug. There's a lot of pretty large gap and you can see some burning issues here on the spark plug. So we may have some other issues with this vehicle than just spark. So that's what the spark plug looks like. Now that we have the spark plug out, now would probably be a good time to do a compression test. All right, so we're going to thread the compression tester in. This verifies that the motor is good. If we have low compression, the vehicle's not going to run. So, put the compression tester there. Now, we don't want the motor to fire, so we're just going to crank it. So, we're going to disconnect spark so the vehicle can't run. Because all we want to know is the engine good? So we're going to disconnect engine. All right. Okay, so we've now verified the vehicle has really good compression. We're at near 100 pounds of compression, 180 to 200 pounds. That's excellent. So we know the cylinder's good. We're going to change the spark plug out real quick because we already got it out. We want to verify that spark plug's good. The gap looks off. So what we've done, we put a little bit of anti-seize on the plug. This is an aluminum block engine. We want to make sure these plugs go in and come out nice and smooth and don't seize in place. We've already pre-gapped the plug. We're going to thread her in. And always hand thread them in. And then we're going to lock it down. Okay, she's nice and tight. We're going to hook our spark plug wire back up to that cylinder. Alright, so the wires are all hooked up. Everything's plugged in. Alright, so we're going to start it back up, fire it up. Alright, so it runs a lot better. We still have a little bit of a miss every now and then, hesitation going on. So we still have an issue with the vehicle. We're going to replace the 3 spark plugs and go from there. Alright, so we went through, we replaced all 4 spark plugs. We don't believe at this time the spark plugs have been replaced previously. If they had, it'd been a while. So we changed all 4 spark plugs. They've obviously replaced the coil tower and ignition module. And these are the little plug extension boots on this style of vehicle, which basically replaces the spark plug wires that most vehicles would have. So right now we've installed the spark plugs. We're going to fire this up and see how it runs now. What we're waiting for is we want to make sure the vehicle's running nice and smooth. There's no misfires, no engine shaking, nothing. It's not, nothing abnormal. So as of right now, it seems to be running pretty smooth. So what we're going to do now is we're going to jump in the vehicle and we're going to brake torque it, give it some, put some power behind it, and see if this thing still runs good under a load. So that's our next step. Alright, so as of right now, as far as we can tell, this vehicle is running excellent. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the scanner. We're going to re-verify that our misfire counts we were looking at originally are completely gone. If all the misfires are gone, nothing's happening to the vehicle, we will then take it for a drive and just verify the complaint and that the vehicle is now running smoothly and there's no misfires. On a side note, every vehicle that comes in with a particular problem like this, 90% of the time it's something different. This one here today might turn out to be a very simple, just spark plug replacement. A lot of times you run into the coils being bad, modules being bad, bad fuel injectors, sensors failing, fuel pumps bad. There's a number of items that can fail and cause a stumbling or a misfire on a vehicle. So that's our basic step pattern to get to the problem. And this particular vehicle, it sounds like or seems like it's going to end up being spark plugs that caused the failure on this vehicle. So we're going to assemble everything, double check our work, make sure that the misfires are gone. If they're gone, the vehicle's properly fixed, and we'll take it for a test drive to confirm. Back to our scan data. This is our misfire counts. As you can see, cylinders 1, 2, 3, and 4. We all got a bunch of zeros along here, which tells us everything is golden. There's no misfires. Number of misfires is 0. So at this point in time, everything seems to be fixed.